Welcome to the June 2025 San Antonio housing market update. I'm Krishna Perkins, your host, and today we're going to be getting into all of the May data here that is now complete for 2025. But first, we're going to check out a quick article from CNBC to shed some light on what we can expect even later here in the summer of 2025 in San Antonio. All right, this article here on CNBC states mortgage demand drops for the third straight week, even as interest rates ease. Now, this was published on Wednesday, June 4th, and this really sums up where the housing market is in the overall picture here in the U.S. The average contract interest rate for 30-year fixed-rate mortgages with conforming loan balances decreased to 6.92% from 6.98%. These are just the key points I'm reading. And then we see here last year at the same time, rates were 15 basis points higher. Applications for mortgage to purchase a home fell 4% for the week, but were 18% higher than the same week 1 year ago. You can read the complete article on CNBC, but what this article basically is saying to me is that what is being offered currently to the market as a whole is not working the same as it was in the previous years. Right now we're in what is typically the busiest part of the year, and the same types of offerings are not affecting the market the same they were in the previous year. So we are definitely at a turning point as a whole in the market. Every market's different, but as a whole, what is being offered to the broader market is not affecting the market in a positive way anymore. So back to the local San Antonio housing market numbers. A balanced housing market in San Antonio has arrived. As you can see here, we are looking at the very beginnings of a balanced market. We're just inside a balanced market at 5.28 months worth of inventory, and it's been an incremental journey for over several months towards a balanced market. But as you can see, this past month we took a big step into a balanced market. 5.28 months worth of inventory, that's up 10.69% month over month. That's a huge jump in inventory, especially considering we are in the historically high buying season for the year. Oddly enough, the sold to list price percentage is 103.2%, which is very curious. So what that means is sellers in San Antonio are typical sellers are receiving a little more than their asking price. So 103.2%, that's quite a swing. So 5.85% month over month. That means we've at least, a lot of sellers are pricing accordingly, at least the ones that are getting their homes under contract. So that is good news for some sellers. If you do list your property and it's priced correctly, you can get rewarded still in this market, even though we are now in a balanced market. If you're priced correctly, there's still buyers out there looking for a home just like yours. Now, the typical marketing time, also good news here for sellers, 39 days, that's down 7.14% month over month. So they're selling faster. Okay, so just because we're in a balanced market doesn't mean that it's not a balanced market is not a buyer's market. Even though the momentum is going into a buyer's market, we're still able to get homes under contract in a quick turnaround time. The typical home sold in San Antonio, median price $297,400. That's actually slightly above the previous month, almost 1% above the previous month. The median estimated property value in San Antonio, $289,680. That is actually an increase, okay, of 0.2% over last month. Over the last 12 months, it's actually gone up 2.7%. Okay, so we've had a lot of fluctuation in estimated property values, but as a whole, it's still positive. Okay, new listings on the market for the month of May. The typical new listing came on the market for a list price of $310,000. That's lower, okay, 1.6% month over month. And the number of properties, though, this is the big one. Number of properties newly listed in San Antonio, 3,300. That's 9.3% increase month over month. Okay, so more new homes being listed to sell in the San Antonio area. The typical home size for those homes, $1,870 square feet. That's down 2.5%. And active listings. This is a huge one. Okay, this one is for the list price. Okay, for those active listings, the typical price is $315,000. So if you notice the active listings versus the new listings, these new listings, in my opinion, they stand a better chance of getting sold. Look at that list price; it's $5,000 difference. These now these are a bit smaller, okay, but the active listings are a little bit larger. Okay. The number of properties that are in the active listing pool. Now, these are the homes that have been on the market at least 10 days, but a lot of them a lot longer. 9,151 properties. That's 8.8% month over month increase. So this active listing category, again, this is what's driving us into a balanced market and potentially even to a buyer's market if it keeps going like this, is the active listing count. How many homes are continuing to not be sold month over month? New pending listings. This is another huge indicator when we're looking at the housing market. These are the homes that they're under contract, they're done with their inspections, they're done with renegotiations, and now they're pending. Okay, they're imminently going to close. These went into pending status in May. The typical price for these homes, $291,635. The number of properties that went into new pending status, 1,575 properties. That's down 19.7% month over month. That's huge. Okay, it goes back to that article that we started this market report with. Okay, people are not reacting, they're not refinancing, they're not taking out loans. I don't want to say no one's taking out loans or no one's refinancing, but the rate at which people are doing those activities is decreasing. Okay, you can see that same activity here in pending listings. If you look at here, we're going to go to the 3-year view here. As you can see, we're trending down, okay, left to right. We're trending in a downward fashion as far as new pending listing activity, okay. Days on the market, the number of days on the market, still pretty good for sellers. 40 days on the market. It's not as fast as I believe some of the sales last month, but 40 days on the market, that's not terrible. 4.8% month over month decrease, okay. It's actually an improvement in days on the market. Pending listings. These are older pending listings. They're already pending before May started. The typical price for those pending listings, $300,000. Okay, that's down 3.2% month over month. And the number of properties that were in pending status there, 2,165. Again, downward trend, 12.7% month over month. Days on the market, 42 days. That's actually up 7.7% month over month. But look here, and you can see the trend for the pending listings. So the new pending listings and the pending listings both trending to the downside. Okay, less transactions there. That's a leading indicator of where the market's headed. We don't have any real change in interest rates, and even the small incremental change that CNBC was talking about, not having an effect on the market means that we're probably going to see some more change in the market. Probably not what sellers are going to want to see in the next month's market report. So just looking at these numbers here. Sold listings, properties that were sold in May. The typical sold price, $297,400. That's the typical sold price. That's up 0.8% month over month. The number of properties that sold, 1,685 properties. Again, that's down 1.9% month over month. As you can see, sales, pending listings, that all translates into sales. So sales year over year, month over month are lower. Okay, The typical homes that sold in May, again, 103.24% of the list price. Days on the market, 39 days on the market. That's down 7.1% month over month. So again, if your home is priced correctly and that's marketed correctly, it can be under contract quite quickly. 39 days is really short work for a home in market that is seeing some resistance to sales because of the interest rates and market fears. So, so not all bad news for sellers and not all great news either. But just to recap, month of supply, 5.28 months worth of supply. Last month change, 10.7% change in supply. Okay, these two numbers right here, we're going to finish off with pretty dramatic. 12-month change, 21.4% 12-month change. So we saw quite a big chunk of the change last month in supply of homes. That's pretty big. I think I attribute this to the interest rates being stuck where they've been stuck, especially during the highest, typically the highest activity part of the year. So it will be interesting to see what happens next month. I wouldn't be surprised to see another close to double-digit change in supply. So we'll see where that takes us. If you have specific questions about your situation, you can always reach me direct, 210-260-6617. If you're curious about your home's value, visit www.homevaluetx.net, and I'll be sure to get back to you in a timely fashion. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.